Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Today, we are going to talk about the thing that is probably just dominating your feed.
Oh, absolutely. LinkedIn, news alerts.
Awkward dinner party conversations, maybe. It is the absolute obsession of the moment in Silicon Valley. AGI.
The three magic letters.
Yeah,
Artificial General Intelligence.
exactly. The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
The narrative right now is it's incredibly strong. It's this idea of a digital superbrain that can do literally everything a human can do. Write a sonnet, code a website, diagnose a rare disease, plan a military campaign.
But do it all better, faster.
And without needing a coffee break.
Right.
It is the story driving billions and billions of dollars in investment.
It's the sci-fi dream, right? I mean, we've been primed for it by movies for decades.
Yeah.
HAL 9000, data from Star Trek.
Yeah.
We want the machine that is
Well,
a person.
but, and this is why we love doing these deep dives, we have a stack of notes and research here today that suggests we might all be looking in the completely wrong direction.
It's a bit of a cold shower for the hype train, honestly. The source material we're analyzing today makes a very a very contrarian argument.
Okay.
It says that while the media and the big labs are obsessed with AGI, the real winner of the enterprise race, the thing that will actually change how businesses run, is going to be something else entirely.
And it has a much clunkier acronym.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Marketing is not its strong suit. It's called ANDSI.
ANDSI. Okay. Before we get into the argument, let's define our terms, because that sounds like a government agency or something. What does ANDSI stand for?
It stands for Artificial Narrow Domain Superintelligence.
Artificial Narrow Domain Superintelligence. Wow, that is a mouthful.
It is, but the concept is actually really simple. Think of it this way. AGI is the Swiss Army knife. It's one tool that tries to do everything reasonably well.
Right.
ADSI is the scalpel, or, the laser cutter. It is an AI system designed to do one specific thing: play chess, fold proteins, interpret tax law, but do it at a level that is just incomprehensibly better than any human being.
So if AGI is the jack of all trades, ADSI is the master of one.
Precisely. And the core argument in our source text is that the tech world has convinced itself that the master of one is just a stepping stone. They treat it like a boring precursor to the main event, but this author is saying, no, look at the economy, look at how business actually works. The specialist is the end game.
That is a massive pivot from the current narrative. I mean, if you listen to the big CEOs, they're all promising us the Godbot. Why would this source call AGI a distraction?
Well, they actually use an even harsher term. They call AGI a powerful money-attracting meme.
A meme. Wow, that is fighting words in this industry.
It is, but the logic behind it is fascinating. The text uses this concept of the super employee to show why AGI is, well, arguably an engineering nightmare.
Okay, let's unpack that, because I
Yeah.
think it helps ground this really abstract idea.
Okay, so imagine you are a startup founder. You listening right now, imagine you're building a company, you have a limited budget, you need to make a key hire. So you post a job listing, and you decide you want one single person to fill every major executive role.
Okay, so I'm not looking for a unicorn. I'm looking for some kind of mythical creature.
Exactly. You want a CEO who can set high-level strategy and manage investors. But this same person also needs to be your lead general counsel.
Oh, wow.
They need to know every statute, every loophole, every contract detail.
That's already a nearly impossible combination.
But you're not done. This same person must also be your head of accounting, and your lead researcher, and a full-stack software engineer, and run your marketing department.
If I posted that job description, people would think I was having a mental breakdown. They'd laugh me out of the room.
They would, because we know intuitively that humans have bandwidth limits. To be a world-class neurosurgeon, you usually have to sacrifice the time it would take to become a world-class concert pianist.
Specialization is the cost of excellence.
That's it.
But the counter-argument, and I know the listeners thinking this, is, okay, that's a human limitation.
Right.
We have squishy biological brains. Computers don't get tired. They have infinite memory. Why can't an AI be the surgeon and the pianist?
And that's where the source material brings in a second analogy that I absolutely love. It's the car that cuts hair.
The car that cuts hair.
Stick with me here. The author asks you to imagine a machine You want a car. You want it to drive you safely from your house to your office at, say, 70 miles per hour.
Right.
That is a really difficult engineering challenge. You've got aerodynamics, suspension, batteries, safety cages.
Sure.
But because you are obsessed with general utility, you insist that this car also needs to be able to do your laundry
Wait, while I'm driving?
while you're driving and cook a gourmet meal and give you a haircut.
Visually, that is terrifying. I'm just picturing scissors flying around while I'm on the highway.
It's a total nightmare. But think about it from an engineering perspective. This is the key point. To build a great car, you need it to be sleek, low to the ground.
Aerodynamic.
Right. To build a barber station, you need vertical height, stability, specific lighting, fine motor tools. If you try to jam them into one vessel, what happens?
You get a compromise.
Yeah.
You get a car that is heavy and clunky and unaerodynamic because it's hauling around a washing machine. And you get a haircut that, well, I wouldn't trust a haircut from a moving vehicle.
Exactly. You end up with a machine that is mediocre at everything and great at nothing. And this is crucial. It is incredibly expensive.
Right.
The text argues that AGI is too much like that. We are trying to stuff the lawyer parameters and the poet parameters and the coder parameters into one giant neural network.
And the result is just bloat.
Massive bloat. It's computationally heavy. It's slow. And it's prone to confusion.
Confusion? You mean like the hallucinations we keep hearing about?
Right. This is a technical point the source really hammers home. When you have a generalist model, it's drawing on just a universe of data. If you ask it a complex legal question, there is a non-zero chance it pulls in data from a fictional TV show about lawyers or a Reddit thread because it's general.
It has all this broad context that gets in the way.
That's in the way. But a specialist doesn't have that problem.
No.
An ANDSI lawyer, a model trained only on case law. It doesn't know what a TV show is. It doesn't know what a poem is. It can't get confused by a recipe for lasagna because it literally doesn't have that data. It is focused entirely on the law.
So the argument is that by chasing the general, we are sacrificing reliability, efficiency, and cost.
Yes. And the source says this isn't just theory. We actually have decades of proof that the specialist approach is what actually solves the hard problems.
Right. This is the part of the notes where we look at the Hall of Fame. Because I think people forget that we've had superintelligence for a while now, haven't we?
We have.
We just keep moving the goalposts.
We do. We get used to the magic very, very quickly. Let's look at Deep Blue.
1997. IBM.
Garry Kasparov.
The world champion of chess. The pinnacle of human strategic thought at the time. Deep Blue didn't just beat him, it dismantled him. In that specific domain, the 64 squares of a chessboard, Deep Blue was a superintelligence.
Right.
It saw moves no human could see. It calculated deeper than any biological brain ever could.
But if you ask Deep Blue to write a press release about its victory?
It couldn't. It's a paperweight outside of chess. It has zero utility outside its domain.
Then fast forward to AlphaGo. This is a huge moment.
Huge. Go is exponentially more complex than chess. The number of possible board positions is greater than the number of atoms in the known universe.
Insane.
Experts thought computers wouldn't beat humans at Go for another 100 years. AlphaGo did it in 2016.
And it wasn't just brute force, was it? That was the thing.
No, and that's what was so snacky about it. There was this famous move 37 in the second game against Lee Sedol. AlphaGo played a move that no human would ever play. I remember that. The commentators thought it was a mistake.
They thought it was a bug, but it turned out to be this beautiful, creative, winning strategy.
But again, super narrow.
Extremely narrow. AlphaGo cannot write a Python script. It cannot tell you if it's raining outside. It is a god at Go and an infant at everything else.
The third example in the text, and I think this is maybe the most important one for the real world right now, is AlphaFold.
This is where we leave games behind. AlphaFold is biology. For 50 years, one of the hardest problems in science was protein folding.
Right.
Trying to predict the 3D shape of a protein from its DNA sequence, it's crucial for understanding diseases, creating medicines. Humans spent decades mapping these out. We were stuck in the thousands.
And AlphaFold came along and did what?
It predicted millions, nearly all known proteins. In just this massive burst of computing, DeepMind's AlphaFold essentially solved a 50-year-old grand challenge of biology. It accelerated drug discovery by magnitudes.
Wow.
It is, by definition, super intelligent at biology.
But it can't do your taxes.
It doesn't even know what money is. And that is the point. The author is saying, look at these wins. These are the biggest achievements in AI history. And they all share one trait.
They are ANDSI.
They are all ANDSI. They are narrow domain superintelligence.
So why are we ignoring this? If the track record for specialists is so good, why is every major tech company, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, why are they all chasing the generalist?
Because the generalist is sexy. It's the dream. AGI feels like creating life. NDSI feels like creating a better calculator.
We built a better accountant.
Yeah.
Doesn't really get you a Vanity Fair profile, does it?
Exactly. But here is where we get to the core of this deep dive. The enterprise case. The source argues that while AGI gets the headlines, ANDSI gets the contracts.
Why? Is it just the cost?
Cost is huge. Think about inference cost. The computing power required every time you ask the AI a question. If you are using a massive AGI model that knows everything just to process a standardized invoice, that is total overkill.
It's like taking a Ferrari to go check the mail. It burns a lot of gas.
It really does, whereas an ANDSI model designed only for invoices.
Is a bicycle.
It's a bicycle, it's cheap, it's fast, and it does the job perfectly. But it's not just cost, it's about integration and workflow.
The text paints a picture of the best-in-class model for the future company. I want to walk through this because it really clarifies the vision.
Okay, so forget the super employee doing everything. The future company is a roster, it's a team. You have an AI model that is your best CEO. It runs strategy, analyzes market trends, makes these probability-based decisions.
Then you have a totally separate model that is the best lawyer.
Right. This model has ingested every legal document in history. It is a super intelligent lawyer. Then you have the best accountant, the best coder, a whole team of them.
So instead of one brain, it's a suite of specialized tools.
It's an assembly line of geniuses.
Yeah.
And for a business, that is infinitely better because let's say your accountant model starts making mistakes.
Right.
In an ANSI world, you debug the accountant. You retrain that specific model.
And in an AGI world.
You have to retrain the whole brain. And you risk that by fixing the accounting math, you might accidentally break the creative writing module or the coding module.
It's the catastrophic forgetting problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you try to teach a generalist something new, it often forgets something old. Specialists don't have that problem.
It really does make the AGI ambition seem inefficient. It seems like vanity metrics versus actual business metrics.
That's exactly how the source frames it. It says businesses won't pay for the expensive all-in-one. They will pay for the tool that solves their specific pain point perfectly.
But there's a darker side to this analysis. The source isn't just saying AGI is inefficient. It's warning that this obsession with AGI is actually a strategic risk for the United States.
Yes. This is the geopolitical angle. The text warns that U.S. developers, the big labs we all know, are obsessed with the Holy Grail. They are chasing the Nobel Prize. They want to make history.
And meanwhile,
the competitors, specifically Chinese industry and the open source community, might be taking the more pragmatic route.
let's break that down. Why Chinese industry specifically?
The source draws on the history of manufacturing. Think about how China became the factory of the world over the last 30 years. They didn't do it by trying to build one magical machine that makes everything. They did it by hyper-optimizing every single step of the supply chain.
Efficiency, segmentation,
Yeah.
assembly line.
Exactly. The argument is that they will apply that factory floor logic to AI. They won't try to build a god bot to talk to you about your feelings. They will build the world's best industrial control AI, the world's best logistics AI, the world's best battery chemistry AI.
Tools for production, not for conversation.
Right. And if they build the tools that actually run the physical economy while we build chatbots that write screenplays, who wins?
The source is pretty blunt about this. It says if U.S. developers don't pivot, they will surely lose.
Surely lose the enterprise race. It's a very stark prediction. It suggests that economic dominance comes from utility, not novelty.
And you mentioned open source as well. That's another competitor in this race.
Open source is naturally chaotic and decentralized. You have developers in basements all over the world working on specific problems.
Right.
They aren't trying to build a trillion parameter model because they can't afford the GPUs. They don't have the billion-dollar data centers. So what do?
They innovate within constraints.
They optimize. They build small, fast models that do one thing really, really well and run on a laptop.
So you have this pincer movement. On one side, industrial pragmatism from global competitors. On the other, open source efficiency. And in the middle, the big U.S. labs, potentially bloated by their own ambition.
It's a classic innovator's dilemma. You get so focused on the big thing that you miss the 1,000 small things that actually make up the market.
It really reframes how we should look at the news. Every time I see a headline about a new massive model that can see, hear, and speak, I'm usually impressed. But this suggests I should be asking something else.
You should be asking, okay, but is it the best in the world at any of those things?
Right.
Don't ask, can it do everything? Ask, is it the best at this? Because for a business, pretty good at everything is often worse than perfect at this one thing.
If I need a heart surgery, I don't want a GP who's also pretty good at fixing cars. I want the heart surgeon.
You want the heart surgeon, exactly.
I want to circle back to the listener for a second. We've been talking about corporate strategy, geopolitics. What does this shift from AGI to NDSI mean for the individual, for the person listening to this on their commute?
I think it changes how you prepare for the future. We've been told to fear the Terminator, the robot that replaces humans entirely. But the ANDSI future is different. It's not about replacement. It's about fragmentation and management.
How so?
Well, if the future is a team of specialists, then the most valuable human skill isn't knowing the answer. It's knowing which tool to ask. It's knowing how to string these super intelligent tools together.
You become the conductor of the orchestra.
Exactly. We talked about the super CEO and super accountant earlier. If you are the human in that loop, you aren't doing the accounting. You aren't writing the legal briefs. You are managing a suite of super intelligent entities. You are the glue.
Which sounds great until you think about the hierarchy. Yeah. And this is the thought I want to leave our listeners with today. It's something that popped into my head while reading this source, and it's a little unsettling.
I think I know where you're going with this.
We mentioned the idea of the super employee being hard for a human. But if we successfully build this team of ANDSI models, picture the boardroom of 2035.
Okay, set the scene.
You are the CEO, the human CEO. But sitting around the table, virtually or otherwise, you have the AI Chief Strategy Officer, the AI General Counsel, the AI CFO.
And each of them is, by definition, super intelligent.
Right. They have access to more data than you, they process it faster than you, and they make fewer errors than you. The AI lawyer knows more law than you ever could. The AI CFO predicts the market better than you ever could.
And you are the human manager.
Right. You are the only entity in the room that isn't super intelligent. At what point does the user stop being the boss?
That is the real question. If the AI lawyer says, this strategy is 99.9% legally sound, and the AI CFO says, this strategy yields 400% returns, and the AI strategy officer says, this is the optimal path, do you even have the capacity to disagree?
Are you making a decision? Or are you just rubber stamping the consensus of the gods?
It totally reverses the role. We think of tools as things we wield. But when the tool is smarter than the craftsman, the tool starts to dictate the work. You might still hold the title, but the algorithm is steering the ship.
It's a humbling thought. We started this deep dive thinking AGI was the scary concept, the machine that wakes up and takes over. But maybe the boring alternative, ANDSI, is the one that actually quietly automates the world out from under us, one specific task at a time.
It won't look like a revolution. It'll just look like extreme efficiency. Until one day, we realize we're just the ones turning the lights on and off.
And hopefully the light switch NDSI doesn't decide it can do that better than us too.
Fingers crossed.
That's a wrap for this deep dive. We've gone from the car that cuts hair to the boardroom of the future. It's been a wild ride. As always, thank you for listening. Keep an eye on those boring specialized tools. They might just be the ones that inherit the earth.
See you next time.